I remember the sun on my face, the laughter of my friends. We were children in Kocho, a peaceful village in Iraq. Life was simple, filled with the warmth of family and community. We dreamt of futures filled with hope, unaware of the darkness that lurked on the horizon. Our world changed forever in the summer of 2014. The world we knew was ripped away, replaced by fear and violence. The arrival of ISIS shattered our peaceful existence. They stormed into our village, their faces contorted with hate. Fear choked the air as they rounded us up, separating families, tearing loved ones apart. The screams of my neighbors echoed in my ears, a haunting symphony of terror. My heart pounded against my ribs, threatening to burst out of my chest. We were herded like cattle, our dignity stripped away. The world looked on, silent and indifferent as our lives were torn apart. I clung to the memory of my mother's embrace, her whispered words of comfort. Hope was a fragile flame, flickering precariously in the wind. I was a young woman, barely out of my teens, thrust into a nightmare. Torn from the warmth of my family, I found myself surrounded by strangers, united by our shared suffering. We clung to each other, finding solace in our shared humanity, drawing strength from the whispers of hope that flickered in our hearts. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. The world outside faded into a distant memory. The sun, once a source of warmth and joy, now mocked us with its indifference. The laughter of children, once a familiar sound, was replaced by the echoes of our own silent tears. The nights were the hardest. The darkness pressed in, amplifying our fears, magnifying our pain. The cries of my fellow captives, their bodies broken but spirits unbroken, filled my ears, a constant reminder of our shared ordeal. Sleep offered no escape, only a brief respite from the waking nightmare. Yet even in the darkest depths of despair, a spark of hope refused to be extinguished. We shared stories of our lives before, clinging to the memories of loved ones lost, drawing strength from the belief that one day we would be free. Fear is a powerful weapon. It can paralyze, cripple, and silence. The men who held us captive wielded fear like a sword, aiming to break our spirits, to extinguish the flame of hope that flickered within us. But fear can also ignite courage. It can push us to fight, to resist, to refuse to be silenced. I witnessed extraordinary acts of bravery in the face of unimaginable cruelty. Women stripped of their dignity, their bodies and souls violated, stood tall, their spirits unbroken. They sang songs of resistance, whispered tales of hope, shared stories of their loved ones, keeping the flame of memory alive. Their courage was contagious. It spread like wildfire, igniting a spark of defiance within me. I realized that even in captivity, even in the face of unimaginable evil, our spirits could not be truly broken. We had the power to resist, to fight back, to refuse to be defined by the darkness that surrounded us. I clung to the belief that one day I would be free. I would share my story, the story of my people, with the world. I would be a voice for the voiceless, a beacon of hope for those still trapped in the clutches of evil. Escape was a whispered dream, a fragile hope that sustained us through the long nights. And then one day it became a reality. With the help of a sympathetic family, I navigated the treacherous path to freedom, my heart pounding with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. The world outside was both familiar and alien. The sights and sounds of freedom, once taken for granted, now held a profound significance. But the scars of my captivity ran deep, invisible wounds that would forever mark my soul. I knew I could not remain silent. I had been given a second chance, a chance to speak for those who could not speak for themselves. My voice, once silenced by fear, now trembled with a newfound determination. I would be a witness to the atrocities I had endured, a voice for the countless others who had suffered in silence. The journey was not easy. I faced disbelief, indifference, and even hostility, but I refused to be silent. I shared my story with journalists, human rights organizations, and world leaders, determined to bring the world's attention to the horrors unfolding in my homeland. My story resonated with people around the globe. It was a story of resilience, of courage in the face of unimaginable adversity. It was a story that transcended borders, cultures, and religions, a story that spoke to the shared humanity that binds us all. The recognition and support I received, culminating in the Nobel Peace Prize, filled me with a sense of responsibility. I realized that my story was not just my own. It was the story of countless others who had suffered similar fates, whose voices had been silenced by fear and indifference. The Nobel Prize was not just an honor. It was a platform, a megaphone to amplify the voices of the oppressed, to shine a light on the darkest corners of the world, to call for justice and accountability. It was a symbol of hope, a testament to the power of the human spirit to overcome even the most unimaginable adversity. My journey from captivity to the Nobel Peace Prize is a testament to the power of resilience, the importance of speaking truth to power, and the unwavering belief in the power of hope to triumph over despair. My story is not unique. It is a story repeated countless times in conflicts around the world. It is a story of communities torn apart, families shattered, innocence lost. It is a story of human beings subjected to unimaginable cruelty, their dignity stripped away, their spirits broken. But it is also a story of resilience, of the unwavering strength of the human spirit to overcome adversity. It is a story of courage, of individuals who refuse to be silenced, who stand up for what is right, who fight for justice and accountability. We must never forget the victims of these atrocities. We must listen to their stories, amplify their voices, and demand justice for the crimes committed against them. We must work together to build a world where such horrors are never repeated, a world where every individual is treated with dignity and respect. Our shared humanity demands that we stand in solidarity with those who suffer. We must remember that their fight is our fight, their pain is our pain, their hope is our hope. Let us work together to build a world where peace prevails, where justice triumphs, and where every individual can live a life free from fear and oppression.